and it's being recorded to the cloud. All right. I'm Jeff Stone. I'm a seniors real estate specialist with Douglas Elliman in Port Washington and Manhasset, two locations I work from. And a seniors real estate specialist, well, that's a particular field within real estate. You earn the designation by taking a course over a couple of days, passing tests, learning how to service the 50 and over individual. And to a little background here, it started in 2007. And I know the gentleman, we're friends now. He started this out of San Francisco. And he thought there was a great need for this, and so did I. A seniors real estate specialist has been helping maturing Americans with their needs as part of the National Association of Realtors. And they complete an in-depth training in a wide variety of topics related to home buyers and sellers over the age of 50. It includes senior housing options, 55 and over active adult communities, to aging in place, which we kind of now call living in place, reverse mortgages, downsizing, and right-sizing, using pensions, 401k accounts, IRAs, real estate transactions. I don't get too far into the weeds with that because I refer to the experts all the time. And here I would have a financial specialist work with you on that. Much like I have Jamie here, who is the consummate professional real estate attorney, as well as deals with trusts and estates, things like that. So why use an SRES? Well, we're uniquely qualified to help you take to the next step. And this is right off the NAR, National Association of Realtors profile. As someone over the age of 50, your needs aren't the same as a first-time home buyer or seller. You might be looking to retire, downsize, or join an active adult community. Whatever reason you may have for considering a move, you can depend on an SRES to guide you through every part of the process. And this is where a lot of the times people are a little confused. I first got my designation over 10 years ago. And I've also accomplished a number of things, but the reason why I became an SRES is because my mother was having issues with about living in place. She didn't know how to go about it, and I certainly didn't at the time either. So we found out through a lot of work, a reverse mortgage was good for her. And I realized if she's having a lot of hard time trying to find out how to do things, can imagine how many others are in the same position. So that's why I decided to go for my designation, become a seniors real estate specialist, working specifically, but not altogether, with the 50 and over marketplace. Now, can I work with, say, a millennial? Absolutely. Gen Z, that's fine. Gen X, all that, I can do that. I can represent buyers and sellers of any age group, but I specialize in helping folks over the age of 50 in their downsizing, relocation, or living in place options, and help them there. A lot of the times when I'm out in the field, home buyers, homeowners will ask me, what's a seniors real estate specialist? Thinking that maybe I'm an older realtor, perhaps, or I've achieved a certain level in real estate. And after I explained it to them, they're saying, well, do you sell real estate? I said, yes, absolutely. So they said, well, so you can help my daughter or something. I said, of course I can. The reason why an older homeowner or buyer may want to have a confidential consultation with me is because, almost like a doctor, if I had something wrong and, I've had surgery on my heart and this and that, and I didn't go to my primary care physician. I went to a cardiologist for that because that's where he specializes in. It's almost like the same type of principle here with real estate. If I'm going to be working with someone, I want to be able to work with someone who's best suited to what I want, to what I need, all right? And if you're over the age of 50, and anybody can sell real estate to someone over 50, but I take great pains in bringing the best service possible with options to let you know what is going on, what your options are, what you can decide to take. And I'll also invite your friends. I'll invite maybe an extended family member or adult children over. And in the past, I've had adult children come and fly across the country to be at mom in a town like Fort Washington and sit down. We all sat down. Now, with Zoom now, we don't have to take a flight over or get in a conference call. We can go into a Zoom meeting and we all meet together like we are here right now. And I'll first see what it is that's going on in your life. Why are you considering selling the family home? And we go into it. And a lot of the times they're afraid to make the next move. If they call me, that's the first step. All right. After that, it gets easier. But again, they're held back by fear. That's why a lot of folks stay where they are at home and almost like bury their head in the sand. And they were afraid to take the next move. Even decluttering becomes a chore. And what better time than right now to declutter your possessions and to fix up a few things in the house or on the outside of the house, maybe do a little landscaping, pretty up the outside. So use this time wisely, use it to your benefit. And if you're thinking of selling, well, I got to tell you, you're not alone. There's a lot of folks looking to sell their home as soon as the market opens up. But yes, we can still show it. We can show it live virtually, all right, in a Zoom meeting like this or a Google Meet or what have you. Or the homeowner can take their own cell phone and walk through themselves. But I prefer not to go it that way. That's my job. But a lot of the times, by having your house on the market now, they get to see what it looks like. So when everybody's allowed to go in and probably be one buyer at a time, something like the way the stores practice it, you know, that's the best way. All right. But movement is being had. But I can tell you, I do also relocation services. That is not for Element. I say I do relocation because I work in a field where I will make certain recommendations based on your needs. A lot of people in Long Island, if they don't want to live in place in their own home, they may want to live in the community that they lived in for many, many years. All right. Whether it's a rental, a co-op that I'm living in now on the first floor, a condo, go out to the East End, or a 55 and over active adult community somewhere on Long Island, or they'll move off of Long Island out of state to, say, the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia. Very, very popular today. And they're doing so, especially now in the age of COVID-19, that sometimes their finances took a hit. They're tired of the grind here in New York, property taxes, maintaining the house, which can be a financial burden. And I will recommend, certain areas that may be of interest to them, low taxation states or no taxation states, climate, amenities, these adult communities that they can look at. So there's a lot of things to go over. I'll also take a look at the house and look at some of the things that you can do in order to fix it up. Of course, not now. I can't do that. But again, if the homeowner were to look around and point it out in their phone with me, I could make recommendations on what I see, what they can do. But again, the first step is to call up someone. Doesn't mean I'm going to say sign here. No, I don't have you sign anything unless you want to sign listing documents, but basically just to talk with me. I offer this consultation freely. I don't expect anything in return. Sometimes people will call me 2 years after the fact, which they have done. All right. So again, I'm willing to work with you for as long as it takes. And I do know a lot of areas, 55 and over places on Long Island. We discuss different housing situations, again, co-ops, rentals, condos, what have you. I know Long Island well. Other states I know well. I have affiliations and partnerships with different entities along the East Coast, including Element agents. So basically, I offer a different service. I work this very hard. In 2014, I was awarded the Outstanding Service Award by the National Association of Realtors down in New Orleans as one of the best seniors real estate specialists in the nation, all right, which is hard to do. Only a few get it every year. You know, well, I have a senior advocacy award from town of North Hempstead. You know, I've been on public radio. I've been on public access TV, newspapers, U.S. News and World Report for interviews. And not that I'm blowing my own horn. It's just that, you know, I practice what I preach. I work it hard. I just don't say I have these 4 little letters after my name, SRES. I work it. I try my best to give you the best that I have, knowledge, experience, and hopefully together we can move forward. We have a plan, we strategize, and that's pretty much it. You know, I don't want to go into it. I mean, I have a screen share that I could show you real fast. You know, here it is right here. You know, it's all this you could find out on, let's see, Google has a way of allowing you to see all of these things here. There we go. All right. This is what a designee does. You know, keeping up with trends and characteristics of the 50+ housing market, been trained on different types of housing available, present new housing options to your clients, and on and on and on. All right. My resources, you know, I get a lot of resources through articles that I subscribe to, through professional publications that I get a lot of information from. And as one gentleman who was the CEO of a major brokerage company told me, you know, provide information and do it freely. Don't expect anything in return. Just do it. All right. And that's what I believe in. I try to help people, guide people. I've had other realtors that have called me up for advice, and I'm more than willing to help. Business does come in for everybody. But you know, that's pretty much it. I can put all this at the end as well. But for now, what I would like to do, if anybody has a question, Jamie, maybe you want to ask me a question.
Sure, Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Thanks for having me today.
Of course. By the way, Jamie Harrison, Heiberger Harrison is a fantastic attorney, as you know, she was discussing before, and she's very, very professional, very expert in all things real estate, and does estates and trusts, I believe, too. And anyway, so go ahead, Jamie.
Sure. So Jeff, no, I think it's a really great topic that you're doing here, and I think there's definite need for it. You know, when you say senior community, I have a little bit of an issue with the fact that it's 50 and over, considering I'm turning 52 in June, and I just don't think of myself as a senior, but I guess under your definition, I am. So I guess that's okay. You got to embrace it. But, you know, I think that there's a tremendous, tremendous need. You know, I think it's outrageous and sad and scary what we've seen happen in the nursing homes during COVID. And, you know, the level of devastation of that alone, I could only imagine how many people out there that have parents who might have been living in New York City up until, you know, there's plenty of seniors that are still in the city. They just never wanted to leave. You know, they like to be able to walk around the corner to their local shops they've been at for, you know, 50, 60, 70 years. And now people are going to want to move their parents out. And where are they going to want to put them into a nursing home after what just happened? So I think that, you know, I shouldn't say nursing home, but there's like assisted living, let's say. Is that what it's called, Jeff, when you live it's not a nursing home, there's just living and you have facilities?
Assisted living community.
Okay, and those don't, you know, though a lot of people might have considered those, and those people that may have considered, like maybe there's somebody that would now not want to be putting their parents there because of just all the fears that happened and what happened with COVID here. Plus, I think there's just going to be a lot of people relocating in general.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be the trend this year. And just to give a little insight to this, I have a booth 4 years now, in the beginning of January, at the Ideal Living Expo in Huntington Hilton. and you have over 45 representative of communities along the East Coast, Tennessee, and whatnot, showcasing their adult communities, and it's open to the public. When I first started 4 years ago, they had 450 attendees. Last year, 2019 January, they had 750. This year, 950. All right, that was after the cap, by the way, in New York. All right, so you can see what was happening. I can only imagine what it's going to be like next January. It's going to be over 1,000 attendees at the show. I mean, I was swamped. I mean, I have a huge amount of people in my database just from these shows, and they call me up every now and then. I have emails that go out to them with certain information. We stay in touch. You know, again, I know from statistics where people want to move to, what they're looking for by percentage, you know, so it's, to me, why not try to help folks as much as possible? And yes, if you want to use, you know, your realtor that you trust, and that's the main thing, whether they're over 60, they're seniors themselves or not, trust is a big thing, but you have to make sure they know how to do the job right. And that's what really what it boils down to.
Jeff, what would you suggest to people that are thinking about relocating their families, whether it's to New York or Florida? Here we are, you know, still we're barely in phase one right now. And for people that are considering doing this, what can they do in advance of being able to actually physically do any sort of move?
Well, once they've made the decision to move, the next step really is two things. One, talk with a realtor, specifically perhaps a seniors real estate specialist, to talk with an attorney who's a real estate attorney, such as yourself, Jamie. All right. And what I try to do, since I can't go into the homes, I may invite them to a Zoom meeting. All right. Well, there are a lot of things you can do to start getting your house ready for sale. But when it does open for realtors being able to show your home, people will hit the ground running, buyers. All right, and that's a fact. So what you can do is simple things like decluttering, organizing, and there are experts out there that do this sort of thing, and they're part of my team. You may want to get in somebody to check the roof or your plumbing or electric. A lot of these things, if you can't do it, that are a major problem, it's going to come back to bite you. All right, but basically, what I let folks know, there's three things that are cost effective: deep cleaning, thorough cleaning, spick and span all the way, declutter, and depersonalize. I mean, I went to a house one time and they had wedding certificates going back to the late 1800s. I couldn't believe it. Right after the Civil War, there it was, you know, and that's great. But you know something, when buyers come in, they want to see themselves in this home, and not necessarily, you know, decades and decades of memorabilia. But again, family portraits, photos, you know, any paperwork, documents, any clutter. Get rid of some of the excess furniture that you may not need. All right. You may even want to have a tag sale. I have a state's tag sale specialist that they'll come in and take care of that. And you know, and now and during COVID, there's actually someone, and I've used them in the past, that can take photos of all your items, put them on the computer, all right, video, and do this virtually, all right. And all you have to do is come by. If you paid for the item, you come by and pick it up, or they can also make arrangements to have it sent to you. You know, you pay them for that, but everything's done there virtually, which is really kind of nice, especially now. You don't have to have all these people coming over to your house, you know, and especially right now. So it's decluttering, depersonalizing, it's deep cleaning, you know, fixing a few things. Don't worry about updating the kitchen and bathroom. A lot of the times, you know, folks see that, okay, fine, they're going to have their own way of updating themselves, renovating something. But, you know, again, you know, any light bulbs that are out, you know, get new ones in. Any loose screws, literally, you know, screw them tighter. Make sure things look as acceptable as possible. If it's carpeting, that's fine. You know, you may want to deep clean it, or you may want to take it off and it shows a beautiful floor and redo the floors. That's, you know, inexpensive. But things like remodeling, renovating kitchens, bathrooms, that's a lot of expense, and a lot of folks can't afford that. So you know what? Do what you can, and we'll sell it like the way it is. And my job is to negotiate the highest price possible. You know, that's pretty much it.
Any suggestions, Jeff? Because you do work so much, you know, you're very familiar with all the senior communities. Uh, what can we as just citizens do to help keep our seniors safe? You know, during this time, any suggestions?
Uh, well, for one thing, is senior scams are, you know, seem to be abundant now. Anytime there's a crisis, the people are out there to take advantage, especially of the more vulnerable, such as either children or in this case, seniors. And my own mother-in-law, she was a victim of sending out a check to somebody, posing as somebody else. But these senior scams are real. If you don't belong to a community, a senior community center, you can ask your local council person, legislator, or the town where you live, if you can get more information with regards to these senior scams, or ask the police department, because people are calling up Medicare scams, reverse mortgage scams. They're all over the place. So you have to be careful. And if it sounds too good, don't do anything, all right? You don't even have to pick up the phone. If it's important enough, they'll leave a message if you don't recognize it, all right? But talk to your daughter, talk to your son, talk to your neighbor, all right? Talk to a clergy person, all right? This is what you can do. Don't feel you have to do anything, you know? So that's very important.
And you were talking, you know, we're talking about how there's been this great move, just wanting to move to the suburbs. I mean, I talk to brokers about this all the time.
Right.
Not just seniors, just in general. People are looking to relocate to the burbs as a result of COVID. You know, I was speaking to Gary Parks yesterday, and he was talking about the differences during a crisis of when people make some sort of a change, and that there's the person that had already been considering a move, let's say, and then the crisis comes, and now that just pushes them over the edge. I've wanted to get out of the city. We've been talking about it for years. Now here's the time. And then there's the people that, then there's people out there that have all like rushed and they rented houses out east or up north. And, you know, they just want to move out of the city. They're ready to go to the suburbs. And that's sort of like a knee-jerk reaction, right? Because they just are feeling this way right now, and then all of a sudden everything will get back to normal and their feelings of leaving the city will entirely change.
Right.
Do you think that that applies to people who might be looking at, you know, a 50-50 or 55 and older community?
Well, what I am seeing a lot of now is people looking for rentals. 3, 4 bedroom, in-ground pool, in-ground heated pool, you know, over an acre property, up to $30,000, $40,000 a month in rentals. All right. I'm seeing a lot of that. I've received calls from other agents if I had anything. But again, they're looking in areas that used to be the Hamptons, but I think a lot of it is gone now, the rentals. So they're looking anywhere in the North Shore for rentals. But I think it's on a temporary basis. It's like a sticker shock. They go out, they're afraid, they want to get out and stretch their legs a little bit, not to be around anyone. And that could be good for like the summer months, all right? But after that, reality sets in. They love the city, or what they may do is to start, if they don't already, haven't already, look at second homes and second properties. So that this way, if they needed to go somewhere, they go to a vacation home, a second property they have somewhere, whether it's out in the East End or down south. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. People I know are going up to Westchester, Connecticut from the city, you know, while not staying that far away from New York, because they have, they're working in Manhattan, ties to the area. But again, areas that they need to take a short respite, they'll do that. You know, so we're seeing, you know, and I'm a resort and second property specialist too. I'm seeing people either going out to the East End, and my sister-in-law was one too. She was in a bidding war for a rental. God only knows what she paid, all right? But I know a lot of people now are turning up the dial looking at these adult communities along the East Coast, because I get these figures from the Ideal Living Boys, all right? And they think it's going to be, you know, a lot of people leaving Long Island as soon as they're able to.
Where would people look if they wanted to see what, where different communities are along, let's say, Nassau County or Suffolk County? Where would they find this information?
Well, I know Douglas Elliman has a site on their website, seniors.elliman, and that will show you 55 and over communities all over Long Island, but it's anywhere in the US. So all you have to do is pick your towns, you know, what you may be looking for, 55 and over condos, what have you, and you go to that site, seniors.elliman. And it's a wonderful resource. If you want, you could always reach out to me, because I know a lot of these communities, what their amenities are, price points, whether it's a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, availabilities. I've done all this walking for you, all right? So I could be used as a resource for you. And what I do is that, well, let me back up a little bit. A lot of the times, you know, people may be looking, but again, they're saying to themselves, there's nothing out there for me. There's no place for me. And that makes them stop right dead in their tracks. There's something for everybody, period. You just have to know where to find it, what you're looking for, what I feel, you know, could be good for you. You have to make the final decision, but I'll show you your options. Some people wanted to be very specific. They wanted to have a 2-bedroom condo on the first floor, but a corner unit on a water with a dock. I found it, all right? It was amazing, and a lot of square footage too. And this price point, 5 minutes from where he worked on Route 110. I mean, seriously, I mean, I've been out to places in Suffolk County where sometimes the sun is hard to reach. You know, it's way, you know, in secluded areas, but others are by major hospitals, universities, colleges, places near the middle of town where people like being able to walk out of their condo and into town. That's really kind of nice. You know.
Are most of the places, on the island condos or co-ops?
They're condos, basically. You know, condos doesn't have to be a 55 and over active adult condo. There are non 55 and over adult condos. But again, with the 55, generally speaking, you're going to be paying less money, perhaps paying less taxes. All right. You'll be getting some, if not more, amenities, because they need amenities to draw people in. I've seen it go both ways, but I generally find the 55 and over communities less expensive than the regular condos. They offer a little bit more, you know, and sometimes you want to be with, you know, peers. Some people want to be with a more mixed population in their community. So there's, you know, a little bit of everything goes into this consultation. You know, we put everything down on the table here. We break it up, we look at it, and then we strategize and put together a good package for you to do, you know, so it's like a team effort we do at that point.
Right. Yeah, no, this is all good information, a lot of good information. So what are you planning on? Are you planning on coming back and bringing all different kinds of ideas? You're going to be doing any sort of virtual tours of any of these places?
Well, that's not such a bad idea, all right? That's something I'm definitely going to look at. But again, a lot of the times, people do know these communities. Some of them are very familiar with them. A lot of them have seen units within these communities. And some may even know these communities better than I do because they've been there so many times, all right? But the thing is, though, you don't want to represent yourself, all right? That's not a good way to start off. You know, you want somebody to represent your interest. As Jamie, you'd be the first one to say that.
Of course.
So you need representation, not just having an attorney, but having a realtor, an agent licensed to help you out. and to help negotiate for you so that you get the best price. All right. A lot of the times, folks will go right to the listing agent, think they're going to get a better deal. That's not the case. So, you know, I've seen a little bit of everything out there. Long Island is still a wonderful place to live, but you know, again, people are looking at their retirement funds being hit hard from this downturn in the market. Yes, it will return at some point. All right. But, you know, what happens if you need the money and if you can't really maintain where you are living right now? All right. I'll find you a place that's right sized for you. All right. For your lifestyle, for your financial situation, whether it's in a warmer climate or being out in Long Island, close to wherever, South Shore, North Shore, East End. There's no problem. I've seen so many communities. But again, it's something that more than not, fear stops you dead in your tracks from moving forward, you know, and you have to work through it, you know, and I've helped folks to the point where sometimes I thought maybe I was kind of like a realtor slash social worker. But I mean that because, you know, my mom needed it. I was there for her. But how many homeowners don't have someone? The best story I can say is when I had a meeting with with a couple in their 90s. Gentleman was 95, his wife was 93. And he was still annoyed that they took the car away from him. But in any case, he knew the Wi-Fi password when I needed Wi-Fi in his house. So he was on the ball. All right. But 5 daughters came in at the kitchen table. We're sitting 5 daughters. And it actually went very well because we're all working to help mom and dad. We all kept in touch with one another. I let them know what was happening every step of the way. And that's important too. You just don't want to sign here and I'll see you around. You have to be in touch. You have to help out these homeowners who, you know, again, fear can set in, indecision. So it's not a good thing to you know, to leave alone. You have to be maintaining, you know, your business, and that's the business of helping people. So, you know, everything works out. And they went to an assisted living community, and I've checked out communities, assisted living communities. I've met with their directors, so I know a lot of them as well, you know, including memory care units, ones that are cost effective, more boutique type assisted living communities as opposed to bigger communities, some out in the East End, some out here. So I've seen that. And I also have somebody who's on my team who's an assisted living community placement specialist. All right. That's the specialist. When I say what I do, I'm an expert at. I refer to the expert in their fields. All right. So someone who knows that assisted living community, I'll talk to that person. Somebody who is a senior move manager, you bring them in. And I know senior move managers are fantastic. They're worth their weight in gold. They act like generals. You know, they come in, they sit down with you. Here's what we can do. Here's a plan. And they do everything inside. They hire the right people, come in, take care of sales, cleaning, moving out, moving into your next place. They can be like my right-hand person. All right. So they're very good at what they do and invaluable. So, you know, that's just one of the specialists. I also have somebody, if you're looking to live within your own home, to age there for a little bit longer, I may decide to have you reach out to one of my specialists who's a universal design specialist, can maybe widen the doorways for you or lower the counters or have different handles for your drawers that are better suited for you. Maybe zero level entry into the shower. All right, because even a few inch lip can be a big problem. So the thing is, there's somebody out there for everything. All right, and half the time people don't know that these folks existed. I mean, I get that every now and then. Some said, I didn't know there were people like you, Jeff. And I said, well, yeah, you know. So like I said, half the time is letting people know, educating people what it is I do. That's different from others. Not that they can't sell to somebody who's older, because they certainly can. But again, I come with a set of skills that, if nothing else, let's just sit down and we talk about what's best for you. And it's as simple as that. Now, what I want to do, Jamie, at this point, I want to discuss a little bit about you and your services, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
You know,
Well, look, I deal with a lot of estate sales in my
yeah,
business. So I'll have, the kids, the parents, one of the other parents, they'll come to me. Maybe they're selling an apartment of somebody that's deceased,
right,
and I'll just guide them through the process. I mean, one of the first things that I'll do is let them know that, because under New York law, when somebody passes away and they've left property behind that's going to pass to somebody else, it gets passed at the market value at the time of death. So it's really prudent for somebody that's in this situation that if a parent dies, let's say a friend, whoever it might be, that they find out and they get those numbers at the time that it happens, because that's going to be the most relevant information. Depending upon the size of their estate, there may or there may not be tax consequences. And so what they inherit, that what that property is worth at the time of death may in fact affect the taxes that are due on the estate. I mean, look, in New York, you're exempt from taxes under at the state level up to $5,490,000. At the federal level, there's an $11,200,000 gift tax exemption. So the thresholds are pretty high, but when you're dealing with sizable estates, these tax issues do in fact come up. So it's great to involve the broker. I always make sure when a broker comes to me and they say, look, I'm getting this listing and it's an estate sale, the very first thing I say is, make sure that you have letters. Have testamentary letters been issued. You can't sell property until you have what's called the testamentary letters and you have your waivers of lien. If a property sells for more than $1 million, you need a federal waiver of lien and a state waiver of lien. If it's less than $1 million, you just need the state. And then you can just have an affidavit from the accountant saying that it didn't meet the threshold level, and that's acceptable. Now, in order to close on a property, and out here, depending upon where you are, assuming out here on Long Island or in the suburbs, you're dealing with real property. Now, in order to transfer real property, you're going to get a title and insurance policy. You're going to want to make sure that title is clear. In order for there to be clear title, you need to have these waivers of lien. So there's a few pieces to it. The very first thing that I always tell people is first of all, you can't accept a listing from somebody until they've been appointed as executrix of the estate by the court. Now, if somebody dies without a will, then it's not going to be an executor of the estate, it's going to be an administrator of the estate. And you cannot list somebody's property until an administrator has been appointed for the estate. So if there wasn't a will, somebody goes, they say, okay, I'm the child, I'm the spouse, and you prove your relationship as the next of kin, you could be appointed as the administrator. Once you're appointed administrator, you then apply to the court for what's called letters of administration. If there was a will, you'd be applying to the court for what's called testamentary letters. Once you have those, that's part of the process of getting the executor or administrator appointed. That is the piece that you need in order to take on a listing and be authorized to list the property by the estate. Sometimes you need multiple parties that are going to sign the listing agreement. It all depends upon how it's set up. Do you need both executors to sign off on it? Once you have at least those testamentary letters, even if you don't have the waivers of lien, you're safe to list. It's going to take some time and you want to make sure that they're going along the process. But at that point, once you have the letters, you're going to then have to apply for your waivers of lien. And what will happen a lot of times is an estate could take a really long time to settle. But even if, let's just say it could be, it's some $30 million estate, even though there's a lot of pieces, maybe siblings are fighting over it, it could be messy beyond, you still can get permission from the court to sell the property and they will issue those waivers of lien. So basically what it is it's sort of like when somebody files for bankruptcy and there's an automatic stay on any action regarding regarding anything about them. They can't sell to people, they can't collect money, they can't pay this one, there's a stay. You can't get evicted. Well, it's sort of the same thing. When somebody dies, the IRS is not going to, they're not going to allow for a property to be sold if the state or federal government is owed taxes by the estate. So that's why you need these waivers of lien. Now, oftentimes, look, I mean, I close all different properties. I close co-ops, I close condos, I close single family, multifamily out in the island. I close from New York City, to the east end of Long Island. And there's very often what I'll find happens is you'll have the estate attorney, and the estate attorney then also wants to do the sale I have no problem with that, but all I would just say to you out there is when you're dealing with these situations, you really want to make sure that the estate attorney also knows how to sell. Because what happens is that even though an estate attorney would know how to obtain waivers of lien or settle an estate, they don't necessarily realize what you need in order to sell the property. So it's just important, get your ducks in a row, make sure you have the proper authority beforehand.
I know exactly what you're saying. We've had, unfortunate, in both sides of my family, 2 passings. And it was a mad rush. I said, first thing you do, you have to call up the estate attorney or the elder law attorney that you're working with, or that mom was working with, or dad, or talk to an attorney. Just get that established relationship going right from the get-go. And as you're saying, you can advise accordingly. And it's definitely, it's so important. I can't stress it enough. But what you can do until you get testament letters or things like that. We had a gentleman in Bayside and Northeast Corridor. While he was waiting for his executor papership to come in, whatever, I said, well, let's do the estate sale. Let's get things prepped in time. Use this time. It's very valuable. So we did all that. So when he got it, it wasn't maybe a couple of weeks after everything was cleared out and done, and it was good timing. So, again, planning ahead is the biggest thing you can do. I recommend that to all my potential clients. Plan ahead. If you're thinking of downsizing, call me up. All right, we'll talk. All right, I don't care if it's a year out, 2 years, 3 years out. I've worked with those folks for that time. All right, so it's very critical talking to an expert such as yourself, Jamie, without a doubt. And it saves you time, and it even saves you money, because when my grandmother passed, the state came in and took a lot of it because she had no will, nothing there. And it was a shame to see, so, but in any case, one thing I wanted to bring up on my end, Jamie, is I come into this situation every now and then, and it's not a slight towards any group or what have you, but a lot of the times when I've established a relationship with mom or dad, they pass, and then their adult children come on the scene, or daughter or the son, and before you know, well, my mom's gone. We don't need your services anymore because you're seniors. You only work with older folks, and that's not the case. But then they'll hire, their friend or next door neighbor to do the job for them. Or even when mom is still around, they will give this as their mom or dad, say, go with my friend. He's got a real estate license, and I'm not I'm not putting them down. I mean, that's great. They're getting business, but are they as qualified as should be that your mom demands or your dad demands? You have to get the right person for the job. It's as simple as that. And realtors my own age, can they sell properties? They're licensed, absolutely. Age doesn't mean you're qualified, or you could be 30 years old, have a license, and do a great job for an older homeowner. All right. But again, it's established trust, knowing what you can do, bring in the specialist when you need to bring in the specialist, and everybody working together. And the whole idea is to help that homeowner, period. And, but also find them a place, hold their hand if you have to along the way, find them a place that's best for them. So they're going to be right sizing to the right place. All right. And you're dealing with somebody's probably the biggest financial decision in their lives, and they need every dollar. it matters wherever they go, so, I just wanted to add that. So I always invite the decision makers. I always invite the adult children into the kitchen table, if you will.
Well,
So,
thanks for having me on, Jeff. I,
well,
very informative stuff here.
yeah, I don't know if anybody from the attendees, first of all, I want to thank everybody that did attend this. I plan on having this every week with a different guest speaker specialist. And next week, someone has already agreed, is a senior move manager. All right. So you're going to see the value that they bring to the table here. And so it won't be as much about me. I hate talking about me as much, even though my wife disagrees with me. It will be about the guest speaker. And Jamie, thank you for allowing me to ramble on a little bit more than I should have. But, again, if you're looking for an attorney who will work things out for you, no matter what the hurdle is. Jamie's used to putting out fires, tough deals, easy deals. No deal is simple, really, but, she gets the job done. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. Well, it's always good talking with you, and you're always the consummate professional. So thanks so much for having me, and have a great weekend.
Thanks. I wish everybody a very happy and very safe. And if your families have been affected by this, my sympathies. But again, it's a widely used term, but we're all in this together in a way, different levels, of course. So we'll all get through this. And if you have any, because I'm also involved with a nonprofit that deals with mental health, substance abuse, reach out to somebody. All right. Reach out to somebody. And especially now with the days of Zoom, you can go online to some of these self-help groups. So it can be done anonymous or in a phone call. Just reach out and get the help you may need, or a friend or family member. All right. And seniors tend to isolate in this time and age, and it's hard on them as well. So, we all have to look out for one another, but look out for yourself. All right. So if nothing else, I think, well, look at this. A bunch of questions just came in, Jamie.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mona, for that. Very, very nice. And have a great weekend, and everything looks great here. All right. Well, thank you again for attending. And every week we'll have a different guest on, different topic, and hope today's been of some value to you. All right.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
All right,
Take
guys.
care.
Take care. Have a good Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you.
Bye now.